Uganda, officially known as the Republic of Uganda, is a landlocked country in East Africa. It shares a border with Kenya, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Tanzania. With its capital and largest city, Kampala, and its estimated population of 38 million, Uganda is known as one of the world's fastest-growing refugee crises, as hundreds of desperate families pour across the border every day, seeking refuge from civil war and violence. For example, an average of 1,800 South Sudanese citizens have been arriving daily in Uganda over the past 12 months, not counting the other neighboring countries. Hope of Children and Women, HOCW, was founded in 2010 in Uganda, but the story begins 10 years ago in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Bolingo, how does your story begin?
My story began in 2000. It was one night when rebels entered in our house, and of course I noticed my father was killed, and I had a lot of fear that they want to also kill me, so I had to escape at midnight. Of course I had nothing with me, either money or clothes. I just went away running. Of course on the road I found a lorry which was going to Uganda border, so I asked the driver, please can you give me a ride? Of course, I did explain to him, and he felt sorry, and he said, okay, we can go. Then I entered the lorry and took me up to Kisoro, that's the Uganda border, Congo-Uganda border. So reaching there, of course, I had no money with me, I had nothing. I had just to report myself to the police. And I talked to the police officer what had happened, and I told them now I want to continue till to Kampala. Of course, they had no support. They told me, okay, you can wait till we get a van which goes to Kampala, and they had to accept, of course, but the life was very hard because they could let me move around during the day, but at night tell me, okay, for your security reasons, you have to join the prisoners till next morning. And the life was very, very hard.
So you slept in the prison during the night, and then you went out during the day?
Yeah. So during the day I could move, talk to people, find support. Of course, one day I met Pastor George, who was a Baptist pastor, and he felt touched. So he gave me a ride. He had a motorcycle, and talked to police officers, said, oh, this young boy, I can take him to my home and I'll be able to provide transport to Kampala. So from the police, I stayed with this pastor to his home. He had good children, good wife, they did take care of me. I really felt at home.
And how did you take it from there? You couldn't stay with the pastor, so what happened then?
Of course, I couldn't stay with the pastor because my motive, I want to go up to the Kampala so that I can get maybe more support. Then what he could do was to provide for transport from Kisoro to Kampala, what he really did, and give me some extra money as well. So on my way to Kampala was really good, and I found a challenge when I reached Kampala. When I was out of the bus, I had no direction. I don't know where I was going. I just had to report myself against the police. And the police officers were very kind because they provided me small mattress, so I sleep in the corner. They were providing me lunch, supper, and life was really much better than the Kisoro police post.
In 2008, the idea of Hope of Children and Women took root. In the beginning, HOCW was just one house and a garage-turned-classroom, offering only English classes. Most of the volunteers were the people from the community who used their expertise to help HOCW to grow. The staff are a mix of refugees and locals, creating a group of individuals who understand how best to serve the community. HOCW has since grown into 2 compounds, expanding its services to include many different types of training such as business, Swahili classes, basic maths and computers, as well as social entrepreneurship ventures. Through the language classes, for instance, the families are able to integrate into the local community. There have also been counseling programs through a partnership with a medical school in the USA called the Chicago Medical School to provide health and psychosocial support services to victims of violence and to promote human rights education in order to prevent violence against women and children. Having come a long way from his time at the police station in Kisoro, Bolingo says his goal is not only to help other refugee-led organizations find their footing, but also to create a network of these organizations so that refugees can form the necessary connections to lead a successful and fulfilled life in Uganda. He maintains that the best and most effective model is one for refugees by refugees.
It's a hard life to be refugees.
Refugees have experienced trauma and violence in many forms.
For me, I was born in war.
Children are lost.
Many of the women have been raped.
They remove me their clothes and they stand up to take me like their wife.
Many have experienced violence in their own home.
My father was killed by rebels.
One day I will see our neighbor, they just burn his house and they kill him.
People have experienced imprisonment for no reason.
They make me out. I think they want just to kill me because they are to kill people. It's just like a game. They kill so much people. It's like a game. A game.
It's something that none of us would ever want to experience, and it's something that our refugees experience on a daily, weekly basis before they fled.
There is money, there is everything, but there is no peace. I'm a refugee. I'm a refugee.
I'm a refugee. I'm a refugee.
I'm a refugee here in Uganda.
HOCW has a number of daily activities and objectives. Firstly, to promote human rights education in order to prevent violence against women and children. To integrate families into the local community through language classes. To equip women with entrepreneurial skills through income-generating projects and business classes. To provide health and psychosocial support services to victims of violence. To improve the accessibility to quality education for children. And finally, to network and collaborate with like-minded organisations for programme development. Through education, counselling and job training programmes, refugees are able to improve their livelihoods. Because the programming is inclusive of local Ugandans, HOCW is able to mitigate tensions within the host community, integrate newcomers and foster intercultural understanding. Adele, a Congolese refugee and chairperson of the Women's Collective, said this:
Before coming to HOCW, I felt useless. The opportunities to learn new skills and the community restored my sense of purpose and empowered me to believe in a brighter future.
Hope of Children and Women is unique because it's more than just a non-profit. It's a community. One of the best ways to integrate refugees in their new life in Uganda is to teach them the two main languages spoken in the country: English, the official language of Uganda, and Swahili, a widely spoken language in East Africa. This is why HOCW provides courses in these two tongues to give newcomers the very basic skills to communicate and blend with locals and other refugees. There are 4 levels of English: beginner, novice, intermediate, and advanced. These classes are designed to prepare students for the UNHCR English exam. The proficiency certificates are useful for job and resettlement applications. In addition, HOCW provides business training. By learning marketable and entrepreneurial skills, refugees will be able to develop ways to provide for themselves and their families. The volunteers organise meetings with the refugees, during which they talk about business ideas and encourage them to find good plans to do profitable activities for their centre. In this sequence, this participant encourages the refugees not to doubt themselves and to just run with their ideas. Thanks to these kinds of initiatives, so many activities have been organised within the centre, such as the sewing workshop, the hairdressing salon, a variety of commercial activities such as the sale of different handicrafts, baskets, handbags, hats, and even bracelets made of dry beans. The centre also has a fruit juice activity for which they are trying to find a catering business and a fruit and vegetable display. Some of these fruits and vegetables are freshly picked from their farm, which is very far from the centre. A farm they bought with the generous grant from the Slovenian Foreign Ministry. And with the recurrent idea of including local inhabitants in HOCW processes for a real integration of the centre into the daily life of these inhabitants, Berlingo decided to use a part of the grant to hire Ugandan workers from the Deji rather than renting a tractor to do the clearance of the land for the farming project. In addition to this acquisition, the partnership with the Slovenians allowed them to extend their work with the Women's Collective to include a mushroom growing project, an activity that was started in a small room within the centre, but thanks to this partnership it will be extended to farming land in Nakawuka that will soon become a farm of no less than 5 hectares and costing some $50,000. Among the centre's concerns, there is the objective of enhancing and improving the lives of women through various activities, such as a daycare centre which allows women with young children to participate in other activities, such as cookery classes, teaching languages, and elementary mathematics.
Because HOCW's mission is to instill hope, provide opportunities, and offer support to the community, there are many different activities going on within the organization. There are counseling programs that provide health education classes on topics including personal hygiene, sexually transmitted diseases, and the safe preparation of food. These counseling sessions are mostly for those suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. The psychological therapy classes are essential for the refugees that have been victim of terrifying events in their lives. The objective of these classes is to create awareness about health-related issues. Sometimes the staff offer free testing of blood types and also for HIV at HOCW. These services are largely facilitated through the partnership with Rosalind Franklin University in Chicago. In addition, HOCW has a partnership with Deje Health Center 4, a local government-run medical clinic which provides low-cost primary health care to HOCW's clients.